The first thought is that, I saw two K-pop opinions videos where one had an opinion about Cortez's fandom being annoying, and the other one talked about the fandom making them mad, and I never understand people making these types of opinions talking about fandoms being annoying or have something negative to say about the fandom because it doesn't shock me since of course a group that is from the Big Three plus hype or from a non-Big Three company and is successful is bound to have an annoying fandom. K-pop stans be adding a new group to the annoying fandoms list like it's something new every time. You guys don't need to talk about this each time because it's obvious. Yes, the actions of the fandom that led them to be viewed negatively might be different, but in the end they end up in the same box with the other fandoms. You guys don't need to tell us something that we already know because we know it's gonna happen, so why put the fandom at the center of the spotlight in the first place? Is it because you want the views and engagement, so you'll talk just about anything even if it's bringing up the same topic again but with different groups? Because let's be real, you obviously know that fandoms can make you view them negatively because of their possible larger size due to the group being popular or more known. It's not hard to spot, because so many groups' fandoms get brought into the conversation, especially big groups like BTS, New Jeans, Blackpink, etc. But you seem to be ignoring that just so you can have speak negatively about a fandom for the clicks and people to agree with you so you get the views, which is what almost every K-tuber does when making opinions videos and shorts. There are always obnoxious, loud fans who give the fandom a bad name, but you be out here talking about them as if there's a discussion to be had. Talking about specific actions they've done is a discussion more than just opinions about how you hate a fandom, find them annoying and such. You guys turn anything into takes as long as it can get your video to be clickable showing who you are as AK-tubers, because I do get wanting views, but not in this sense where y'all just share these nothing takes, which I've said multiple times before, so people click on it. Y'all would rather have a click-worthy video that in the length that it is, says nothing that actually needs to be said while marketing it as if y'all are gonna give us a, this is my opinion, yours could be different, when in fact I've said it before many times about how your opinions aren't yours because you guys overuse opinions, but also now I see that y'all also state the obvious in your opinions as well like you just thought of something new and never said before. When will you guys ever learn that not everything is meant to be an opinion and that's okay? Fandoms are gonna leave you feeling negative, annoyed, whatever the case may be, and it's better to just ignore them until the fandom does something bad because is it really worth the effort to just say a one-sentence opinion or a short not fully explored on opinion about fandoms if it just echoes similar thoughts said before with just a new name added to the opinion? Are you really that type of person to think such things make, upload-worthy opinions, simply because you're focused on the numbers rather than the quality? UK tubers are just like the K-pop stans you call out when you talk about them being obsessed with charting. It's just funny tbh. The next thought is that, I saw an opinion in a short that said, encore stages shouldn't judge talent, idols are humans, not auto-tune machines, and I disagree fully. Encore stages definitely should judge talents in terms of if they can sing well or not, because if they trained for some time before debuting and still can't even hold a note, then why are they even idols in the first place? They're just gonna get hated on to the moon and back by people. These companies scouting or accepting them through auditions, the idol is just being set up for failure because if the group doesn't train long enough and the idol can't sing originally, meaning born with the talent, or can sing but needs lots of training, then what's the point in debuting only to not be able to sing at all decently? Encore stages definitely expose who can and cannot sing and who naturally has talent and who doesn't, also showing who has trained or not. I'd like to believe so. And this opinion saying encore stages shouldn't judge talent because idols are humans and not auto-tune machines is funny considering if idols' talent shouldn't be judged on literal encore stages where it's live raw vocals sung with little to no movement like choreography, then when should we be allowed to judge idols' vocals? Should we just coddle idols their whole entire career and not care if idols mess up even though their pre-debut training was supposed to help them try not to mess up even just a little bit? And if encore stages shouldn't judge idols' talent, that means we shouldn't judge idols' talents at all, which means all their training went into vain because if we're not judging idols' talents, we're giving them a pass even if their training or lack thereof did nothing to help them at all and we're just here accepting every flaw, if the flaw isn't from health issues or other genuine reasons. Idols lip sync quite a bit on live stages, and to me, encore stages are one of the only rare places where we get to hear true live vocals to critique the real talent or lack thereof members of K-pop groups have. And if encore stages shouldn't judge idols' talents being one of the only current places to hear raw vocals without the auto-tune or backing track or lip syncs or pitch correction or whatever is done, then what's left for us to do then? Because we have groups singing on It's Live, The First Take, which are meant to be live but are fake and not live at all, and we have these groups singing on Western talk shows and other places where we cannot be sure they're singing live, even on tours they could be lip syncing and or doing other such things. For me, encore stages are one of the only rare places, besides something like Arirang Radio, but that mostly has a lot of lesser-known Nugu groups or maybe more known in Korea groups singing on their radio show, so we don't know about the more popular side of the K-pop industry's vocals really nowadays other than maybe encore stages, at least I don't know. So no, encore stages should definitely, in a critique and mature, but honest and unhateful way without biasness, judge idols' talents because we can't just use the "idols are human" excuse all the time to protect idols since idols need to be critiqued if they debuted and still can't even sing a basic note. The next thought is that, so, in my K-pop Things of Realized video I talked about how songs are not short because of their length but rather how they're structured, and it's true. K-pop companies making songs for TikTok virality make their songs to sound short and incomplete, and they wouldn't be more complete if the length was made longer because who's to say that making the length long would make the song sound more fuller and complete if the company doesn't structure it properly and it just has filler parts. Making a song longer won't automatically fix the shortness, since there are songs that I've heard that are short and still sound long enough even when they aren't long, and they feel complete to me. The structure matters more in the song than the length. Y'all cry about songs being so short, and want songs that are 3+ minutes and longer, but if y'all are given that, y'all will still complain because nothing was fixed. All the song did was fill up gaps by doing nothing just to come off long enough to not be considered short by fans. I mean, yes, there are times when songs are short and it sounds good but incomplete because there are parts that could have been added, so making the length longer would help those parts get a chance to be showcased in a song. But I feel like for the most part it's the structure of the song because the way you make the song reflects the length, methinks, since you don't go like, oh, I wanna make a song that is 3 minutes and 10 seconds long, and then you try and make the song within that time frame, which might not work if some of your ideas for the song have to be removed from the track to fit the time frame. It's obviously more the structure, because the way you make the song determines its length and then you can add on or cut out parts which in turn make the song ready to be released, complete or not, which is why I think structure matters, and K-pop companies making songs that are meant to be TikTok viral are shorter because they're structured that way to fit a length. Also, if a song comes off as short to you, that's your opinion, because maybe the artists themselves don't mind the length if they're happy with the overall result. So, you guys need to know what you're asking for instead of just spewing out words. The next thought is that, firstly, I wanna say that as a K-pop stan myself, I boycott so many K-pop groups, Nugu and Popular, and some soloists as well by unfollowing them, removing their music off my playlist and just forgetting about them in general, and there may be more artists on my playlist that need to be boycotted too, but I don't know who yet. Also, I'm the type of K-pop stan to boycott who I boycott, and so I'm not gonna sit here and go after people who don't boycott certain artists because it's their K-pop stan lives and it has nothing to do with me. Sure, there might be times where I go off in a comment section, but I realize how dumb it is and I stop myself from going further. But even despite that, I wanna ask and say this thought once and for all: do K-pop stans ever boycott K-pop groups, soloists, bands, idols? Every time I watch K-tube, I see K-pop stans making video ideas adding groups that I would think are being boycotted for reasons. Like Young Posse, for example, who debuted with a song that had sexual lyrics sung by minors, but then I see K-pop stans promoting Young Posse in their videos. I'm not talking about ideas where these boycott groups are relevant and fine to add, but I'm talking about ideas where if you excluded these boycott groups it wouldn't really affect the video because these groups are easily replaceable. I've also seen on other social media platforms, like when I was in Facebook groups for Nugu and underrated girl groups, and I saw posts being allowed by admins about Young Posse. I just wonder, why do I not see any K-tubers boycotting groups like Young Posse? Maybe I haven't found the right channels or K-pop stans who actually boycott, yet groups like them are given a lot of attention by K-tubers promoting them quite a bit, when macaroni cheese should have been the final decision for you to not stan and promote them in the first place and boycott them. I see more talks about people talking about X groups' controversies than actually doing something like boycotting, because these stans talk about these issues one time and then the next these issues are forgotten like they were never talked about. Taken Hypen for example, where people have talked about the sexy dance of Fever done by underage members, but yet in Hypen to this day still have fans. I admit I also did continue enjoying their music for a bit without boycotting them, but recently their songs Sweat and Desire made me feel icky and I boycotted them, because they're all adults now. I believe in both Sweat and Desire have this sexiness to them and I just didn't like it because of Hype trying to make them sexy more, especially looking at Fever too, so this didn't start recently. So, I did eventually boycott them, but for others, where's your boycotting? I don't see it. I wanna know, because y'all shouldn't be giving these groups attention if they've done something controversial as a group, if a member has done something, if the company has done something to the group too, where all these reasons are perfectly valid for boycotting. Even for people fed up with groups like New Jeans and groups like All Day Project because of Tarzan for example, do y'all boycott them? Because, I've said this before in a previous thoughts video, so I'm bringing it back briefly again, y'all be giving these groups so much attention just by talking about them time and time again in opinions or commentary based videos, like with K-tubers constantly talking about New Jeans ruining their careers, not liking the members, not liking the fandom or giving us updates on them, and for All Day Project talking about Tarzan's CA. Y'all should just stop talking about these groups that y'all don't like, unless you have actual commentary to give rather than just saying the same thing 10 other channels have already said on the topic or will say about the topic in the future. You don't need to talk about these groups every time if you don't like them, because you can just boycott them and move on with your day. You're not making it any better by not only talking about these boycott groups time and time again but also adding their videos into the background as well when their part appears to talk about. If y'all have problems with groups, boycott them, because it's that simple. I don't wanna see no K-pop stans acting like they care when they talk about boycott groups and being annoyed with them for valid reasons when you're gonna possibly talk about them again or add them into a playlist video or do something that shows you being annoyed at the group wasn't real annoyance if you forget that you were ever annoyed at the group the next day. You're fake if you still keep them relevant by promoting them even if you hate them. The next thought is that, so, before I start I wanna say that this take is centered towards K-pop stans who listen to and promote Nugu groups, of course not all of them, but most of the people who listen to and promote Nugus that are fake and don't actually care about Nugus, and this is not meant to target the real Nugu K-pop fans. K-pop stans who listen to and promote Nugu groups are fake people who don't really care about actual Nugu groups. I've said this before in a rant video, but if you see K-pop stans when promoting groups as Nugu, they promote mainly the top of the iceberg good budgeted groups where mostly all of them aren't Nugu, but K-pop stans see them as such and promote all of them as if all are Nugu. K-pop stans mainly promote these groups because they're easily found. Meaning that most of the Nugu titled videos list these same few lesser known bigger budgeted groups with very few listing actual Nugu groups. So these same few groups get circulated a lot more, which to me shows K-pop stans being fake in their Nugu group support because they mislabel groups as Nugu who may already be out of Nugudom, but these K-tubers don't even check first or care enough to wanna check, which is the first reason as to why I think they're fake, since real Nugu fans would actually wanna know which groups are actually Nugu and which groups are actually getting attention to see who deserves to be more promoted. Plus, another reason being that if any of these groups K-pop stans mislabel as Nugu were actually Nugu, like one example being Purple Kiss, who are far beyond Nugudom yet they're promoted as Nugus, these K-pop stans would not give two fucks about Purple Kiss if they weren't at where they are now, and they instead debuted under some low-budgeted Nugu company. K-pop stans don't really care about Nugus and only pretend to care because where are the Nugus in your video with the title claiming to be promoting them? I'm still waiting for that Nugu train to arrive, since all I'm seeing are groups that are more likely closer to the middle point in K-pop that feel like they're more closer to being popular than being at the bottom of the barrel alongside actual Nugus like Dawnlike, Weas, Muinshida, Aston, Betch, On Air, Trusty, Block C, White Day, Maywish, etc. It really makes me frustrated that these so-called Nugu stans do this when there's a wide world of extremely Nugu groups you can check out and give love to rather than circling around the same few groups as if you've done extensive amounts of research on them before classifying them as Nugu when you didn't. We all know that. Y'all actually only care about Nugus if they're good budgeted enough to come within your K-pop stan view rather than you searching for Nugus if you're interested in them. Your Nugu group support is to feel cool and quirky. When I make my videos, I try not to add these bigger budgeted groups if my video focuses on Nugus because I wanna promote even more lesser known songs. There have been instances where I've promoted groups as Nugu when they're possibly not Nugu at all, which I do admit, and I'm not gonna lie as if I'm better than y'all when I make mistakes too. But I'm trying to better myself each time instead of just being like the K-tubers I find with their Nugu videos, and while every time a new group is added to their so-called Nugu list that they want others to check out and support, it is again a rookie, newly debuted group, but one from a bigger label who seem to be financially good enough to try to get them to get noticed more faster than smaller budgeted companies. Every time I see a Nugu-based video by a channel I've never watched that video idea from, I go in with low expectations because I know exactly who is gonna be promoted in those videos. I've watched so many Nugu idea-based videos to know that this K-tuber is gonna be like the other 99.9% skippable Nugu videos because the 0.1% of actually good Nugu videos are rare and are not a lot to overtake the bigger portion of bad ones. The next thought is that people talk about K-pop groups being overworked, but do you guys, similar to the boycott take, not listen to comebacks of groups, meaning give support to comebacks, and do you not pay attention to group content because you said that particular group is overworked? Who's to say you're a K-pop stan who talks about K-pop groups being overworked, but then when the comeback happens, you end up making a video reviewing the song or doing a song ranking video at the end of the month and then adding that group into the video, basically just promoting the song when you yourself said the group is overworked. If you're a K-pop stan who does this, then you're a hypocrite who just says things for attention if you don't follow through with what you say. Like, I wouldn't have a problem with this if you're a fan who engages in the group content, if you're not out here crying overworking while still trying your best to keep up with the group. My problem is with fans who say this for attention and for others to agree with them for the likes, views, and engagement on their videos. They don't care about these issues that they talk about. They only care about their own selves and how they benefit from talking about such things, and so they say anything that they can brand as an opinion. Also, overworking is a serious issue that can lead to burnout, health issues, mental health problems, collapsing, and other such things, and so when a group really needs the support in terms of fans caring for their overworking, then I'm not sure many of these fans who screamed, X group is overworked, will be there in support, because these fans just soullessly parrot things without a single care. Also, because of opinions like this overworking one being so popular and said by many, we do not know who actually mean it and who just say it for the validation. Unpopular K-pop opinions have become a space for people to share these, I care for this issue, type of opinions, because what better way to come off as sympathetic than to mislead people into believing that you're using your platform to spread good things that you believe in, right? The fake fans and the real fans mix in together and it becomes hard for real fans to say what they mean. Because some fans, like me, will always end up questioning their intention first before knowing if they genuinely care about idols and groups and want them to take breaks. And that's what makes things sad because again, unpopular K-pop opinions have become a space for the numbers, so genuine unpopular K-pop opinions content is rare and even the ones being genuine could come off as, just like any other channel doing opinions content, and will get brushed off aside because of how their videos come off. So, in the end it's very annoying when people use these serious issues as an, I care, moment simply because they're looking for their target audience who'd believe that they're genuinely caring when it's all an act. The next thought is that, K-pop stans talk more about an issue rather than doing something about it. Like for example, K-pop stans talking about, minors, if you're watching this topic opinion, you'll find more, minors debuting is wrong and it should stop, opinions rather than opinions where these K-tubers are actually giving a solution or saying a simple, I'm boycotting minors, and never talking about minors again unless the K-tuber does talk about minors again, but it's to talk, share thoughts about a new news story about something that happened to an idol or group who are minors, but no. These K-tubers don't show themselves as, I wanna do the right thing, because as I said plenty of times throughout this video and also in other takes videos, it's all for the likes and views. Also, I just noticed how even more for the likes and views these K-tubers are, because so many topics are overused, which means that K-tubers pick these overused topics because despite these topics being popular, K-tubers still use them because people will agree regardless since nobody in the comments calls the takes out for being unoriginal. That's why you'll see more takes about certain topics because those takes get the engagement, since talking about a topic never to talk about it again isn't what the K-tuber wants. These K-tubers are there to share their opinions as hot takes meant to anger people. As many of you may already know, and not really meant to be discussions, and so K-tubers focus more on the marketing of said opinions as brutal, harsh, etc., because who wouldn't wanna share harsh opinions that are just bland takes in disguise just to wanna reach 1K plus views, rather than being someone who is actually saying something worth listening to, but they don't get enough of the views as a hot takes channel. Most of the unpopular K-pop opinions creators are chasing the views and none of them are genuine, and it's true, because if you search up unpopular K-pop opinions videos, shorts and find for the ones that are close to reaching 1K plus views, you'll see many of these channels with the same takes. Like apart from 1 to 2 channels really trying, the rest are all view hungry. Even looking at channels who upload unpopular K-pop opinions content, they upload one video on it, it does well, and then they upload another unpopular opinions video because the first one did well. You cannot tell me that channel is not view chasing, because if the channel says nothing worth listening to and comes off as if you're angry by what I've said, then congrats, my work here is done, then they're 100% doing opinions because it's trendy and gets people views. Nobody wants to give commentary on K-pop. They're all just secret Santas giving the same gift to each other. The last thought is that, you know what I've noticed? K-pop stans will so easily say that Cat's Eye are not K-pop, which is true, simply because of them being a global group or a Western group, but when it comes to K-pop groups who are still under the K-pop identity but release English music that is possibly made for Western audiences, K-pop stans will never say the song is not K-pop. What makes Cat's Eye different from these English releases that one isn't K-pop while the other is? Y'all just seem to be saying things to fit a narrative that y'all created that I don't fully understand, because I've said it many times that English songs are English releases, Japanese songs are J-pop, and Korean songs are K-pop in terms of the language. It's that simple for me. But y'all just wanna make things complicated, right? If a K-pop artist makes an English song directed towards Westerners, mostly just Americans, what makes it still remain K-pop as opposed to K-pop songs released in Korea? Because having the K-pop identity alone doesn't make the song K-pop. It's like when you go to China for a short vacation but you're originally from another country, for example, do you become a Chinese citizen just by going to China? No, because you'd have to live there long enough to be able to be legal to get Chinese citizenship. You cannot have one identity but do something else entirely, because then your identity doesn't work at that period of time. If an English song by K-pop artists can be called K-pop, then what does the Korean in the word K-pop even mean anymore if not the language? Because if you say it means the Korean people, then what has been the point of all these non-Koreans debuting since the first generation? And if you say it means the system, as in the training, the dance performance and other things that K-pop does that could make it distinct for it to be K-pop, then what about the other Asian countries also having dance pop groups that also do live shows, dance practices and things that K-pop groups do, with there even being Western groups who dance and sing as well? I don't get what makes the English song K-pop for you guys to not see it as a different identity even when it's the same as any country releasing an English song, or groups like Cat's Eye who are global.